Hi, today's the big day. We're going for a long ride from Niagara Falls, New York to Rhode Island, 459 miles, probably 8 hours on the Spyder. We're gonna test out fuel MPG on the Spyder for a long range highway cruise. We're gonna test out what it's like in terms of fatigue and comfort on a long range highway cruise. And the best part of this trip is that you're coming along with me and I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll head out now.
Okay everybody, it's Chris and we are off. We're leaving Niagara Falls. We're heading over the Grand Island Bridge. It's early in the morning. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. And the sun is rising, as you can see, as we head over the Niagara River. And we're on our first, what I consider to be, long distance ride. And now we're heading from Niagara Falls, New York, where I live, to Johnston, Rhode Island, where I'm from. This is a real test on a lot of levels. So first of all, I'm estimating this journey is going to be about 8 hours. And I believe it's going to be 8 hours because when I would do this trip in my car, which I've done often, it would be about 7 hours, unless there was some unusual traffic event. Now, the difference between the Spyder and the car is that when I wanted to take a drink in the car, I would take this trusty water bottle and take a drink. It's 71 miles an hour, or however fast I was going, on the New York State Thruway. If I want to drink of water now, I've got to pull over. I wouldn't stop for lunch in my car because I take a Quest bar, a protein bar, and a little thing of yogurt with me, and I'd put my car on cruise control and I would have my lunch doing 75 miles an hour on the New York State Thruway. So I'm guessing, because I'll have to stop more and I'm going to have to stop a couple of times for gas, it's going to take me 8 hours instead of 7. So the question is, what is it like after riding the Spyder for 8 hours? How do I feel in terms of fatigue? And the best part is you're going to be coming along with me, so you'll know. Now, let me assure you, those of you who've watched my videos know I don't like to post very long-winded videos, or at least I try to edit them tightly. So this video is not going to be 8 hours. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't think I've ever published a video that was longer than 30 minutes. This will not be 30 minutes. I'm going to work real hard to condense it. But you're going to be along with me when we stop for gas. We're going to do a gas test on this thing. Long range, 70-75 miles an hour, all highway, because this route is New York State Thruway, which is 90, and then we get on 87 near Albany for a short distance. It heads us south. Then we get back on 90. It eventually becomes the Massachusetts State Turnpike. We're on the Mass Pike for, let's say, an hour or so of the trip. And then we jump on Route 146, which goes from Worcester, Massachusetts to Providence, Rhode Island. So the whole route is highway. So it's going to be a good highway fuel MPG test as well. And of course, it's going to be a test of me. So I'm going to give you like my thoughts in terms of my first long distance ride on the Spyder. Comfort level, I've heard of people complaining about the seat on the Spyder RT and the RT Limiteds because it's not as plush as the Sea to Sky seat. I cannot comment on the Sea to Sky seat, but to me this seat is very plush. And the beauty is, if I get fatigued or whatever, I can just raise myself up like this because of these beautiful 23-inch floorboards and lift my rear end off the seat. Okay folks, we've been on the road for, looks like, an hour and 45 minutes. We're about to hit our first stop. We are 128.1 miles into the trip. My fuel range meter says I've got 43 miles to go, and this is the last New York State Thruway rest area that has gas pumps. Actually, I stand corrected. So the New York State Thruway is doing a lot of work on their rest areas, and every other one is shut down, but the gas actually is still operable at those rest areas. But I'm going to stop at this one anyway. The next one would probably be 30 miles out. I can do it, but I'm going to stop. I'll get to take my helmet off, take a drink, walk around a little bit, stretch my legs. But so far, like, obviously no fatigue at this early stage. We're about, what, a quarter of the way into the journey. I will tell you this cruise control is absolutely awesome. I mean, it just tracks so well, and when you need to correct, it's just a simple correction like that. The comfort on this thing is just fantastic. I've talked about that before. The real test will be, what is the comfort like when I'm on my 459th mile? I think it's going to be pretty good, but you'll know with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gas up here. I'm going to log how many gallons I'm putting in. I'm not going to check my fuel MPG at each stop. I'm going to just do it at the last stop, which will be as close to my destination as I can get. But I'll track how much I'm putting in. Again, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here, take a drink, and we'll pick it up at the next stop. So that was a 10-minute stop. The New York State Thruway rest areas are being refurbished. I think I mentioned on the way coming in. And about every other one is completed, and the other ones they're working on, they're about every 30 miles on the Thruway. And the company that is taking over the rest areas is an Irish company called Applegreen. I don't know if I have any viewers in Ireland. I know they're all over the world, but if there's any in Ireland and you're familiar with Applegreen, just know one of your companies is administering the New York State Thruway rest areas. So we're not stopping anytime soon, but I just wanted to give you an update. We're pretty much at the halfway point. It's 222 miles on the trip odometer, so it's about almost halfway. I will just tell you, this thing is just a dream. I can't rave enough about cruise control. You can see hands off, and when I want to make a correction, if the road is, you know, curving or whatever, you can do it with one finger. I know a lot of you complain about, not a lot of you, some complain about jumpiness in the steering. And look, I don't know, maybe this one is a well-balanced Spyder in terms of the wheel balancing. Maybe my tire pressure is just right in terms of perfectly even, and maybe some of you it's not. I don't know, I can't explain that. But what I can tell you is, as a low-time private pilot, I haven't flown in years, but I know a lot of the turbulence that especially newer pilots experience is pilot-induced turbulence. There's inherently bumpy air up there, especially on a nice sunny day like today, and what happens is the plane's going to jostle around a little, and many pilots are fighting that with the yoke, and they're creating turbulence. And I'm not saying you're doing that, I'm just thinking that's one possible theory to consider. But you can see there's no jumpiness. If there was jumpiness in the steering, I'd know about it right now, and it would be a very bad day for me. But this thing's holding. Now we're coming up to a corner, to a curve I should say, so I'm going to just give it a little guidance with one finger. And so anyway, the thing's a dream, completely smooth. The smoothness is just remarkable. I'm just loving it. Now, oh, I don't know if you saw it, a deer was just running along the highway. I'll pick it up again at the next stop. We've only stopped once so far, halfway through it. I thought I'd have to stop more, even just to get a drink of water, but I'm doing okay. No sign of fatigue. I can't imagine me getting to the end of this journey being kind of wiped out. My guess is when I get to the end of this, I'll tell you, look, I could probably go a lot further. I'll pick it up at the next stop. There's another Spyder RT, and I'll talk to you soon. So we're coming up to another travel plaza that I'm going to pull over to. I think it's just up in another couple of miles. And the ride, we're now 282 miles, as you can see, into it. I need gas. It's coming up to lunchtime. It's almost noon, so I'm going to have a power bar that I've got with me, and I may go into the travel plaza and get another something to munch on, stretch my legs. But fatigue free, this thing is just a dream. Again, the cruise control makes it so easy on the interstates to navigate smoothly and effortlessly. Some of you might be saying, well, why are you riding on the interstate? Because to be frank, I'd rather not. I don't like riding motorcycles on the interstate unless I absolutely have to. There's another road that parallels 90. This is Interstate 90. It's the New York State Thruway right now. It's soon to become the Massachusetts Turnpike, but there's Route 20 that's kind of a little south of where we are now, and I could take that, but it would take an 8-hour trip, and turn it into a 2-day trip, because I'd be stopping in every little town in New York and Massachusetts or Connecticut, and I don't want to do that. I want to get there as fast as I can. I will tell you an observation on the fuel. I think when you hear people say 70 is the sweet spot, I think going 76, you can see my average has probably been, oh well, it says it right here, 72, but that's on this trip meter, that is, which is trip meter A, which is since I last fueled up. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think I'm burning up a lot more fuel than I would if I stayed at 70. We'll know soon. We're coming up to 2 miles, coming up to the travel plaza, and 2 miles you can see there, another one run by the Apple Green Company, and I'm going to gas up because I need to, but I shouldn't have to. It's only been 155 miles since I gassed up, and you can see the fuel range meter is now giving me the 3 dashes, which is telling me I'm really close to the point of no return. And at 155 miles, that just doesn't seem right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to gas up at this gas station, and I'm going to check how we did since the last fill up, and I'll do that again at the next stop, which will be the full trips, you know, full 200 and however many miles we're at that point, and see where we are. It might be a deal where when you're on the interstate, you really have to go 70 to max out the fuel MPG, and I don't want to ride at 70 all the time, not when I'm like, you know, rearing to get somewhere. But other than that observation, I will tell you that there's not a whiff of reliability issues. You know, one of the things I worried about, and many of you who are in the market for Spyders might be worried about as well, is am I going to get stuck on the interstate somewhere, and you know, maybe I'm going to get stuck 2 miles down the road. But at this point right now, there's just no whiff of a reliability issue. It's an imperfect machine, but as I've said many times on my videos, I'm an imperfect human. We all are. I'm going to fill up, and we'll do a quick calculation at this stop. Then I'm going to run in and take a few minutes to just take a break and decompress. So I'm guessing this is going to take 6 gallons. I had a full 7 gallons in it, and it went down. The fuel range meter went down to the 3 dashes. But I've been surprised with that before, so maybe it'll only take 5.5. All right, that's pretty much near topped up. 5.2. So I've got to do a couple of things. I've got to remember that 5.2, but so quick calculation: 156.9 divided by 5.2, 30. So 30 is kind of my average. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get to this travel plaza without going the wrong way. I've done better than 30 in eco mode. I'm sorry, without eco mode, it's 70 miles per hour. So I think if I recall, I think I got 35 or 36 in non-eco mode, 70 miles per hour. So it does make a big difference. Okay, so a nice short and sweet 10, 15 minute, whatever it was, stop. We are well past the halfway point. It is getting hotter out. It was 63 degrees when I started out this morning. It's 80 degrees now, so my jacket the vents are zipped open. I don't have my Velcro closures on the sleeves tightened. We are about to go from Interstate 90, again, which is the New York State Thruway, and it's going to turn into, we're almost at Albany right now, and we're going to turn south onto 87. If we continued south all the way, in a couple of hours we'd be in New York City, but we don't want to go to New York City for a whole host of reasons. We're going to get off of 87 real quick, and we're going to jump back onto the 90, which will eventually become the Massachusetts State Turnpike. That'll take us through the Berkshire Mountains of western Massachusetts into central Massachusetts. We'll get off the turnpike at 146, and we'll head to Johnston, Rhode Island. Before I turn the camera off now, I'm going to pick it up when we are back on the 90, still in New York State, but when we're crossing the Hudson River, because I want you with me when we cross it. First of all, it's a cool thing to cross it, but secondly, occasionally I've crossed that bridge when the railroad trestle bridge, which is just adjacent to the road bridge, when there was a train coming, and it'd be pretty neat if we saw a train. We almost saw one at Letchworth State Park, if you recall. Maybe we'll get luckier today. This is called the Castleton on Hudson Bridge, I believe. Well, here you go. Here it says it. Castleton on Hudson Bridge over the Hudson River. And they're not doing any construction on it. Looks like they finished construction on that side. And there's the railroad trestle. I don't see a train on it, but many times I've seen a train coming right from that end right there. Well, folks, I was hoping we'd get a train sighting, but that's okay. I'm going to pick it up when we get to some of the prettier parts of the Berkshires. We're about to head into the Berkshire Mountains. They call them mountains. I think they're really hills, but they're beautiful to ride through nevertheless, and I want you to experience that. We're getting close to our destination. We're 2 hours and 15 minutes out, and we'll pick it up soon. So we're now entering Massachusetts, as this sign will attest, and we're now on the Massachusetts Turnpike. It is still Interstate 90, which goes from Boston to, I think it ends in San Francisco. I know it ends on the West Coast. I believe, this is weird, I believe it ends in Northern California, probably San Francisco. I'm pretty sure. And this is the beginning of the Berkshire Mountains, or the Berkshire Hills. It's beautiful country. I mean, it really is. I don't mean to minimize it, but it's not like the White Mountains of New Hampshire or the Green Mountains of Vermont. Certainly nothing like the mountains out west in the Rockies. Nothing like that. But it's beautiful nevertheless. We have 92 miles until we get off the Massachusetts Turnpike at Worcester, Massachusetts. We jump on 146 and then we're almost home. My next stop will be my last stop, so we're only going to do 3 stops on this trip. I thought we'd do more. I thought I'd be thirstier. I thought I'd need, you know, and it's 81 degrees out. My guess, if it was 91, we would be stopping more, but we only stopped twice so far. We're going to stop one more time for fuel. Ironically, I've got 126 miles to my destination. BRP is telling me I've got 127 miles left in the tank, and I'm not going to run the tank dry or even close to it. I don't like to do that. So we're going to stop somewhere on 146, gas up. Even if we don't have to, we're going to do it. And at that point, I'll do a full trip calculation. I started out with 7 gallons. I stopped twice so far. One last time in either Massachusetts or Rhode Island on 146. We'll take our total mileage at that point, do the division, and see what we get. I'm guessing it's going to be 30 miles to the gallon. And what I may do is, on the trip back to Niagara Falls, I may do another calculation, either for the full trip or maybe just one of the legs, and see if I lower. In fact, I will do it for just one of the legs, because I do not want to drive the whole distance at 70. But I'll do one of the legs. I'll have a full tank. I'll only go 70 and see if I get, you know, 35, 36 miles per gallon. And I'll take you along with me on that one as well. Often I'll do this trip on a weekday, depending on how my schedule goes. It's a Saturday today, but often I'll do this on a weekday, and I get much more traffic, much more cars on the road. It's never congested traffic, although there are parts. In fact, we're coming up to a spot where there's always like some level of congestion, but it's never that bad. But there's always a lot of cars on the road, and on an open cockpit vehicle like the Spyder or any two-wheel motorcycle, you'd have to be on a much higher state of alert with all those cars. Because I'm coming on a Saturday, I guess, it's not Memorial Day weekend, it's not 4th of July weekend, it's, you know, not a holiday weekend. Because of that, I guess it's just a little easier on the fatigue, that I don't have to be on the fatigue level, that I don't have to be on a state of high alert, because I'm afraid some numbskull's gonna, you know, move into my lane. We're now 347 miles into the trip, got 111 miles to go. Again, I don't want to be redundant, but very low fatigue levels. Clearly, the fact that it's a beautiful day, 81 degrees, sunshine, light winds, and not a lot of traffic, certainly helps reduce the fatigue level. If it was a weekday, a lot of traffic, heavy rains, any number of things could make this a much more arduous trip. But today, for this test, this is kind of easy going. Again, the next stop is going to be on Route 146. We're going to gas up and do a total trip. I shouldn't say total trip, because we won't be at our destination at that point, but we'll be pretty close, maybe 20-30 miles out. We'll gas up and we'll see what the full trip mileage is. I'm guessing it's going to be 30 mpg. We'll know that soon. Hope you enjoyed this so far. Hope it's helpful to you. If you have a Spyder and you have any commentary on, you know, how your journeys relate to this one, please feel free to chime in. And if you don't have a Spyder but you're looking for a Spyder, that's probably why you're at this channel. I hope this is helpful to you. We'll pick it up on Route 146. Okay, so we're at 423 miles and we're now getting off the Massachusetts Turnpike onto 146 south towards Providence. I am gonna gas up soon. My range meter says I've got 47 miles to the gallon. I know I've got much more than that, because this is a very conservative fuel warning system, and I like that. I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump on 146 here after this interchange, and I'm going to gas up at the first available southbound gas station. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details of me gassing up, so what I'm going to do is gas up. I'm going to pull to the side at the gas station. We'll do a quick calculation, see how we did on full trip, or almost full trip, 400 plus miles, see how we did MPG wise, and according to, what'll be interesting is to see how it compares to the trip meter. Let's just see what it says here. So right now it's saying I did not do 81 miles per hour today. Gosh, I hope I didn't. It's saying 69 has been my average. In terms of fuel consumption, 3.4 miles per gallon. I hope I did better than that. I don't know what to make of that. It doesn't say 34, it says 3.4, and I know it wasn't 34. Something's wrong there. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'm not going to bore you. So I'm about to head on to 146, and so what I'll do is when I get to the gas station, we'll fiddle with this as well as do the full calculation. We'll see what it comes up with, and then the next clip in this video will be my wrap-up in terms of how I feel, and I feel great, by the way. Had a little traffic on the Mass Pike about 20 minutes ago, but not much, and not fatigued at all. I could definitely go for a lot further than 400 plus miles. Now, if the weather was worse, you know, who knows? But I'm going to cut it off here, pick it up at the gas station, and we'll see where we end up on the fuel MPG. Okay, gang, so I burned up a total of 13.9 gallons. And so the question is, how did we do? So we went 425.8 divided by 13.9. That's 30.6 miles per gallon. Let's say 30 plus miles per gallon. Now, I zeroed out my trip odometer that I use just for fuel purposes, but the reason why this average is saying 3.5, if anybody has any theories on this, I sure would appreciate it. Again, we're looking at trip meter B a total of 425.8 miles that we've done today. And the speed, I don't know that I went 81, but maybe I did briefly, but my average was 68. This average MPG is just totally wrong. Now, Trip A works. I know Trip A works, and the total works. 28.7, that's probably, you know, pretty close to my average since I bought the Spyder. But why is this saying 3.5 miles to the gallon? Well, that's neither here nor there. Now, you may be noticing I took my riding jacket off. I did that for the rest of the trip on 146 and 295 to get to my destination. I'm just, like, not going to worry about it. It's a hot day. It's 91 degrees according to this. I don't really think it's that hot, but it may be. We don't have that much further to go, and I'm just going to take my chances. Now, what I'm going to do is pick up the video when we're close to the destination to give you my wrap up, and I'll see you shortly. So we're close to the destination, folks. We're still on 146. We're going to get off this in half a mile, get on what's called 295, and we're literally less than 10 miles from the destination. So I'm going to give you my wrap up now. We're at 448 miles. Again, I got 10 miles to go, and I'll just tell you, first of all, it's going to be about a 7.5-hour journey, not the 8-hour journey I thought it was. We made better time than I thought we would. The fatigue level is just very, very low. I mean, I don't feel like I did when I woke up this morning, but for someone who's been on the road for almost 7.5 hours, covered 448 miles through 3 states, I'll tell you this, I could go a lot further. My guess is that I will make this 450 mile mark kind of my target area for good weather, fair weather rides. When it comes to long distance interstate touring, which I plan to do more and more of, especially next year, and then the year after that I'm free as a bird, long story, and I'll be doing even more of that. I think 450 miles will be my sweet spot, because I do not mind. I'm not staying in a hotel on this trip, I'm staying with family, but I don't mind pulling into a hotel, you know, early in the afternoon or mid-afternoon, and not have to, you know, wind things up before it gets dark if it's in the winter, that kind of thing. It's the old milk jug. It used to be a coffee stand or something, maybe an ice cream stand. But anyway, so totally fatigue free, could definitely go more if I wanted to. If the weather was inclement, I might feel differently. In terms of MPG, you know, it looks like this thing's a 30 mile per hour MPG on the highways, unless you want to keep it at 70. So here's what I'm going to do. On the ride home, I'm here for a week. When I ride back to Niagara Falls, I'm going to, at some point, either the first leg or after I fill up once or twice or whatever, I'm going to do the deal. We're going to set 0 on the trip odometer, and we'll test the fuel at 70 miles an hour. I don't want to do that the whole trip, but I'll do it for part of it just so we can test. And I think we're going to determine, based on my other tests that I've done, that perhaps to get that 36 miles per gallon, you got to keep it at 70 miles per hour, and I believe others have commented on it. Other than that, I'll just say the next week is going to be a great week weather-wise here. If you stick with me, we're going to post some videos with some cool scenery on the Spyder, riding through Newport, Rhode Island, and Narragansett, Rhode Island. We may make a trek on the ferry out to Block Island. If we don't do that on this trip, I'll take you along when I'm back here in July, because I'm coming back in July. And thanks so much for watching. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe, because we got some cool videos coming. Thanks again. You have a great day. Bye-bye.